are. Hi, Katie.
Hi.
Hi, everyone. We're reaching out from Glastonbury in the UK. How many people in the Glastonbury? Raise your hand. This is actually my first time in Glastonbury. And I didn't even know about 4 weeks ago that Glastonbury was on the map.
Now you do.
It's okay to share that. It's okay to share that. And yeah, I wanted to come out here and visit Katie. And I thought, wow, what a great opportunity to come together and do a Facebook Live for all of you.
Yeah.
So we could join you and talk about social media. So we'll let people kind of drip in here, trickle in here. As we start to get in the groove. We're going to be talking, of course, about this, Social Media for New Age. Katie's book. Let me block not her name on the bottom. That's her. That's her. She's here. Look. She's here. And really to talk about and visit and open this up to chat with everyone about what it's like for you to use social media and how to make it so that it fits you and your style. Because you're a unicorn. And we're definitely with Miss Unicorn of social media here. So we're going to go visit that. But first, we're going to see who's kind of here. We see Clayton John Anger is joining us from about 5 meters away. Thank you, Clayton. Looking good. Thank you very much. That's beautiful. Got a few more other people joining in here. If you're joining in, ping, let us know that you're with us and where you're reaching out from. We are here in Glastonbury. Donna Blodgett, I think Donna's in Austin. What's happening, Donna? And yeah, it was a great opportunity for me to actually come and see Katie. We haven't seen each other in
a couple of years.
Live in probably a couple of years.
Yeah, I think so.
She's been traveling in Thailand and then went back to London for a little while. And then you came here in February?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah. Cool. And then ended up living here by some magical vortex portal that this place is.
Yeah, the energy here in Glastonbury is quite amazing. It's kind of like, for those of you that know in the States, it's kind of like Sedona would be for the States. That's what Glastonbury is here, though they claim that it is the heart of the planet, the heart chakra of the planet here.
Yeah.
So very, very interesting, intriguing energy here. Yeah. Nina Kaiser, hello. Caroline King, welcome.
Yeah, Mount Shasta too. It's kind of
Mount Shasta.
Yeah. In California, if you've heard of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm from California, but I've never been to Mount Shasta. That's very embarrassing. Wait, isn't that in the north of the...
I think so, yeah.
So we're just kind of waiting as people join on here. Warming up. Thanks for being here, Caroline. Nina Kaiser, beautiful. Clayton, Donna, lovely. It's good to see you. I don't know where people are reaching out from. Let us know if you have a second of where you're checking in from, so we just know as we get warmed up here to get going into this great conversation about how you can do social media your way.
Yeah.
I'm interested in this question.
Yeah.
Is anyone interested in this question? Show some hearts here.
Yeah. The $15 million question, I think, isn't it? Because social media is such a tricky thing for people, which is what I find. Being a coach and a consultant, it's something people struggle with. How do I show up? How do I show up as myself? It's amazing how that can even be a struggle. Yeah. But it is.
And how long have you been working with social media?
It's been in my blood from a teenager. Actually, when I was at university, I set up a social media network before they existed with some friends of mine. And then got down to London, the .com market crashed, and then I got into the music industry.
Sorry, parentheses. Did you do this before Zuckerberg started?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, it was 99, 2000. We set up something called
Alex Sharfin, what's happening, my friend? That's wild. So
yeah, set up with
social media.
Yeah, it's just always spoken to me how we can use the internet to connect with each other, really. Yeah. And that's what social media is. That's what we're doing right now.
So what we're achieving to do here as everyone checks in. Mr. Clayton John Anger, thank you very much. He hits my incompetence. That's a great way. Alex Sharfin, it's good to see you, my friend. I hope you're doing well there. I believe you're in Austin. Stephen Sisler is watching from Texas, I believe Dallas. Good to see you, my friend. How do we wave here? Let's see if we try to wave.
Let's give him a wave.
So we're just kind of warming up here. Thanks, Steve. You're looking good too, my friend. We're just warming up here, just starting the conversation. And I guess we can kind of kick off here. So I wanted to bring Katie onto the page here and share with everyone in the tribe that checks in with me, and that I'm trying to bring some love and soul and energy and insights and sensorial approach to living to that. As I go through what I'm going through in my work and in my life, I want to be super efficient in how I'm using social media and get better and better at it. And at the same time, I don't want social media taking entirely over my life. Hello, Randy Schatz, probably from New York City.
We just had a comment as well.
Sorry, we're like checking in here, looking at this stuff here. Oh.
Yeah, overwhelm. Overwhelm is a big one we can talk about.
Yeah, we'll get to overwhelm.
Overwhelm,
for sure.
yeah.
So for me, it was a lot about how can I first of all do social media in a way that's most my style, which is probably to do a lot of video, which I do quite a bit of video, as you can see, but also to find a way to really connect with people and create the conversations in a way that's not taking up massive amount of my time. I'm not the most probably organized or disciplined person in terms of staying consistent. And yet I enjoy being on social media. I just don't want it running, my life. And I think nobody wants to do that. And also at the same time, I don't want to be in a system of social media that's way too restrictive, doesn't feel like it's mine. I'm on way too many channels. And that's great. Anyone who wants to be doing that, great, no limit, right? But for me, I'm already trying to just say, how can I be on a few at the most for now, and really already optimize those and build the audience and connect with people there and create a community and be more kind of healthfully involved with social media and kind of make it more fun for me. So it's kind of a check-in for me and a way of sharing it with you. So feel free when we're going through this to ask questions, as Nina has just asked, which we will get to.
Well.
Be careful with this phone stuff. And so first thing, I just want to get a little bit of an intro to Katie. Katie has been involved in social media, let's say directly, and really working with people in social media for the last 10 years.
10 years, yeah.
And has worked with a lot of people who've published books. For example, people who have been working with Hay House, publishing books in the, let's call it the psychology, personal growth, spiritual, wellness, this type of space. She's done a lot of work in the social media space to make these people's lives better, and especially to help them get their messages out and connect in a way that doesn't suck up all their time, so that they can be focused on really what they're here to do. And before that, Katie was actually involved in the music world, promoting and working with DJs in many different ways, but actually, I guess, helping them promote their events. And
yeah, I was a talent manager. Yeah, working with a lot of the Radio 1 and 1 Extra DJs. So I'd help book their gigs and also help them build their profile and liaise with the radio stations and that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, music world's wild.
Yeah, it is. That's why I had to swap into wellness. It's a little bit too wild.
Social media is pretty easy compared to the music world.
Yeah, I think I spent most of my 20s in a DJ box, probably.
Wow.
Yeah, it was definitely a period where I was in clubland a lot and working a lot. Yeah.
So, what do you love about social media? Why have you been so involved in it?
Direct access to audience was always the big thing for me. What I saw working in the music and entertainment industry, that there were gatekeepers. And so you needed that PR agent, you needed that record deal, you needed the manager who had the contacts to get through the door, to get reaching more people en masse. And then MySpace came along, and all of a sudden we were able to reach the audience directly without having to go through the radio station or having to go through the TV channel. Yeah. You could just build an audience directly, and that just fascinated me. Oh. It was like being a kid in a sweet shop. I was like, I can make stuff and put this out online and reach people and not have to go through other people to really put stuff out there. Yeah,
no
really cool.
Gatekeepers, no permission asked. Do it the way you want to do it.
Yeah.
So this is where you started to feel that you'd way more prefer to do it yourself?
Yeah, well, I had a radio DJ act that I was managing, and they just lost their show on Kiss FM, and they had a big audience in Clubland, and I needed to keep their profile high to be able to keep charging the kind of money we were charging to be in these places. And so I was like, there's this thing called a podcast that we could do. And so, I put that out, and we actually ended up winning a Sony award.
Wow.
For that. So, it was the first ever Best Internet Program Award, and we'd made it in the studio and then put it out through MySpace.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So I was like,
illustrious start in the social media world.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And that just spurred me on. So then I ended up going to Ibiza and working for We Love Space on Sundays. And we'd make a podcast. The club night would start at like 11 o'clock in the evening and finish at 6 in the morning. We'd run around making a podcast, interviewing the DJs, getting bits of the set, talking to the punters. And then we'd have it online by the time they were leaving the club at 6 in the morning. And that went straight to #1 on iTunes. And it was suddenly like, we can reach as many. Then we did 1 million downloads in that first summer. So it was like, we can really reach a lot of people doing, if there's an audience for it, you don't have to be, on a radio station. Yeah.
So direct access to way more people.
Yeah.
But you got to kind of know what you're doing.
Yeah, a little bit. But you've also got to have, I think, for me, I didn't really know what I was doing at the time. I was passionate, and so were the people that I was working with. And it's been the passion that's always propelled everything forward. These are just platforms. They're just tools for us to reach people. How we choose to use them is really then up to us.
That's so true. Yeah. So let's see who's joined us here. Marion Patricia Gardner.
Cool.
Welcome. Mathieu
Hi.
Gallillon from France. Bonjour, mon ami. Martin Lopez, how you doing? Not sure where you're reaching out from, but welcome. Oops. Takes a steady hand. Ed Capel, welcome. Randy, we saw. So, why does it seem so cumbersome to work with social media? I get the impression that it's taking up a lot of my time, but I almost wonder if it's the time I'm spending looking at it versus actually creating and connecting and engaging with it. So,
do you have any insight on that for yourself? Do you know where you waste time?
Probably on Facebook, Facebook and Instagram.
Okay.
Kind of looking at, just kind of looking at stuff, and I've kind of not followed a lot of people.
Yeah.
To kind of simplify things. I think there's a balance between like watching, absorbing, supporting others, engaging, and actually creating your own material. For stuff. And I like to do live stuff, which is great because they say this is what draws the most people. But I like video, which is great. I love doing video. And want to be actually doing more kinds of videos. That's certainly a sweet spot for me. I love that space and sharing it with somebody. And to also spend more. It's kind of funny because somehow for me, and I read this in your book, this idea that like I'm creating something that I use right away on Instagram or on Facebook. And I'm finding that's a bit of that's putting me kind of in a position not to be able to plan ahead.
Right. Yes.
And so that's part of my challenge. To say, actually, I can actually work on social media without being on social media.
Yes. So, I mean, there's so many ways. I think everyone's practice is really personal.
Good. Tell me more about that. Yeah, how does everyone here make their own approach personal and effective?
So I think it's about tuning into yourself. And are you a planner? So you've already said you're not really that much of a planner. You are a in the moment kind of guy. So actually an in the moment kind of social media is
that's why we're doing it live.
Yeah, it's going to suit you best. So actually having a live strategy is good for you. But if you but being strategic with that, so the planning aspect could come in the strategy. So then you can still be in the moment with it because that suits your personality type. But if you are like a super planner, and I work with both, then you need the spreadsheet and you want to know what's going out on Wednesday and what's going out on Friday. Then having that approach is also then playing to your strengths and to your personality. So figuring out what your own social media personality is as a first off is really good. Now, I know I like to be a mix.
So what are the different like categories? Maybe we can ask what people think we are in social media, but can you give like what are the different categories? So maybe I'm more, or at least it seems like that, I'm more a live personality, you'd say?
Yeah.
At least principally maybe. What are some of the other categories?
Well, it also depends on the kind of content you're creating. You've already said you're a video person. So then again, live would work well for you. You might have somebody that video is actually quite scary and a little bit daunting and nervous. I mean, I was always somebody that was nervous of doing video.
Video. 6 times more coverage footage.
And I mean, there is that, but the algorithm, again, it's personal, subjective, and unique.
I know there's lots of people I follow who do incredible, like I'm just stunned at the written content that they're putting out, the quality. I mean, of course, it's not the quality.
Yeah, and if you're a writer, then actually you can plan it, but you could be like, okay, a blog a week or a blog a fortnight, and you could have written those, months in advance, but know that you could have an editorial calendar where you're like, this blog goes out this week, this blog relates to an event I've got coming up or a workshop or this, and so you can be quite strategic with that.
Sorry,
he's just messing around.
Don't put your finger on the lens. I need like 4 telephones here so we can like say hi to everyone if there's something wrong. So how are we supposed to handle this? Katie, come on.
You wing it. I might have had a laptop set up with the comments and stuff.
When you look at the cover of this book, my name is not at the bottom. Okay, so either you're a live person.
Yes.
Or maybe obviously you can mix different things, but let's say you have a dominance of one. So
it also depends on your platform
video,
too, yeah.
So let's say you have live and video is maybe one way we do things. Written form in one way or another is would images and memes be
graphics. I mean,
kind of
memes, I feel like memes have been done to death, really.
I love to hear that.
So I feel like I've noticed a
generic,
shift.
It's like they're becoming like Hallmark cards.
Yes, they are. And what I've seen is from, I was using them 5-6 years ago when they were very fresh. And, the engagement has fallen massively and engagement on video has gone up. In compared to visuals, but again, it depends on what platform you're on.
Sure.
If you're on video, if you're on Instagram, then great visuals work really nicely in your feed. But then you might want to do the more spontaneous stuff in Instagram stories.
Exactly.
So it does depend.
So we want to say hi to a few more people here and ask you kind of what your strength is. Hey, Jay Rott, how you doing, brother? You looking good? Can I wave to you here? Let's see. I saw Robbie Richmond. How you doing, buddy?
Hi,
Troy Swanson. What's happening, baby? Marion.
Good, spontaneous, nice.
Okay, so maybe what do you most like to use in your social media? Probably a lot of you use several types of social media, but what's your the one that gives you the most juice and passion? Clearly for me, video is the most engaging, and particularly with somebody.
Yeah.
So it's like we're having a conversation, the energy's flowing, and I go into my, world's greatest entertainment mode, whatever the hell that means. I get a lot of energy and joy out of doing this kind of thing, and I think it's something people can come back to and look at and draw some energy from.
And so I just want to go ping, 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 ping there, because you said a lot of energy and joy. Yeah. So when we were talking about this overwhelm thing, people go into what I call the social media vortex of doom, and that's where it feels like it's a chore. Oh, I've got to do social media. Oh, I've got to do this. I've got to do that. Like, that's when you know that it's probably not going to be working great for you, because then we're like, why is engagement not happening? But when you say lots of energy and joy, that for me is like, right, okay, whatever brings you lots of energy and joy, those are the things to focus on for your social media content. So whether that's video and talking to people, or whether that's writing. People get a lot of joy out of writing. Some people get a lot of joy out of making really beautiful imagery.
Yeah.
And so then let that help you lead your platform. So I would say for you telling me that, I'd be like, I'd get you all over Instagram stories, because it's in the moment. It's engaging with people in a very real time way, but without it then distracting you from what you need to do from your day to day. It becomes like an integration. It becomes this fun, energetic, spontaneous, joyful thing that you're able to do. And then that creates part of your strategy.
Right. And so what are most people struggling with in their social media?
Cool. Live videos and live webinars. I think that was
Christine
to what you enjoy.
Henriks Tasto. That's a name I haven't seen in a long time. Hello, Christine.
Hi.
Jay. Live videos and live webinars. There's the man. Thanks for sharing that. That's a strong point. Let's see, who else do we have here? Okay.
I don't know how to do things on Facebook.
Marion
And
only has
that's it.
to-
Really focus on the platform that you know. That's the other thing, people think they've got to do all of them. So I've just been talking about Instagram.
Yeah.
But if you didn't really know Instagram or didn't enjoy Instagram, again, that's like okay, so then let's just focus. You could use Facebook stories, not that
Right.
they've really taken off, to be honest. But, you know.
So how do we find our own style? What would you recommend for everyone to be able to really be the personality that they are, and to get across the best, these things that make them really a unicorn, so that we're not just pumping stuff out because we need to pump stuff out. It's not just about going through the motions.
Yeah.
And how do we get people to put, more passion, more heart, more energy, more, what makes really us unique, each of you who are here. What would you suggest people look at, try, experiment with, so that they do really get themselves across? I mean, people are kind of calling this like authenticity. I think that's not the right word anymore.
It's not. Yeah.
It's like just you being you,
And how I talk about this is very much, okay, who am I here in the physical? And if we start to think about online and social media, I think of it as like this digital dimension. And so what we're trying to do is we're trying to take our energy and our being that's in this physical dimension and use this social media as a tool to expand in the digital dimension. So what it really is about finding those things, that unicorn self, it's like, really, it's knowing yourself. Like, who am I really?
Knowing yourself.
And how do I show up in a room of people? How do I show up on a client call? How do I show up in a workshop? How can I be that person in my social media? Like, how can I really be me in the same way as I'd sit and have a coffee with you earlier to sitting here and talking to everybody here? There's no change. It's just us and me, But I think there's this tendency, and I know I went through it at the beginning, was to think I had to be this version of myself for social media, this presenter person, or this, or speak in a certain way, or write in a certain way, because that's how people show up and write on social media. And actually, what I found then was with clients, with myself, it's really that, okay, how do we really show up authentically without that buzzword of, because what's happened is authenticity and vulnerability have been turned into a marketing tactic. So then people are being overly authentic and overly vulnerable.
Which is not authentic, which is not vulnerable.
No, it's horrible. It's really not. And so we're having to combat that as well.
So let's see here. Let's see who's joined us
got
here. Marnie Ward, welcome. We're going to try to wave to you while I don't knock over the telephone. Jay Rott, Facebook workers. So let's see here.
How to build your own tribe on social to be able to get deeper with those who resonate. Yeah, lovely.
Yeah, we'll come to that.
Yeah, we
in a
will.
sec.
Hi.
Rukaya DeVille, welcome.
Yeah, welcome.
Troy says, you're doing a mix between two platforms. I don't know which platforms you're just talking about.
Timid to really show up on social media yet. I understand that feeling. I don't have it now, but I did for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. We can talk a little bit about video a little bit later on. So kind of where we are so far in the talk here is, you know, in this social media for new age, with Katie, who's giving us all this wisdom today and opening us up to what we can kind of focus on is, first of all, you know, what platforms are you on? Second of all, kind of really, what is the media that you do the best, that you get the most pleasure from? And how to kind of explore that is kind of where you feel the best, I guess, where you feel like you're giving, you know, the most, the most to you.
Yeah.
And then we talked about actually at that level, particularly in live videos and things, how to actually really be yourself is something you need to kind of translate from regular life into and onto the screen. So let's say you've got these things, okay?
Yeah.
You've kind of got those down a bit. How do you then, would you suggest people explore being more consistent in a way that is not way overwhelming, that helps them really build more, you know, like Jay's talking about, build more community and engagement and build your groups.
Yeah.
And not be like, so it's like suddenly it's so much that you suddenly shut down and you don't want to do any of it.
Yeah.
You know, does anyone relate with that?
Yeah. All of us, I think.
And that's really funny.
So in the book, I call it the framework to flow within.
I love it. The framework to flow
So
within.
you've got the masculine framework, and then you've got the feminine creative flow. So energy, you've got the kind of riverbanks in the river. So you've got that space to be held that helps you create the consistency, but you still have the ability to flow with it and be creative, which really is where the connection piece comes in. Because when it becomes very formulaic, people feel that. When it becomes very prescribed, people can feel that. So you want to keep that flow. It's become live video, Insta stories, all these things. It's become very real time. So when we're too rigid, it doesn't have that.
It's a bit too contrived and too planned. There's no serendipity. And for me, that's probably why I enjoy video so much, or live video, because it's fresh. You know, it's we're making it up as kind of we go along in the, you know, in the theme and the space that we're going, but it feels more like you're actually part of something that's kind of real. And yet you can do this without not being too outside of a structure.
Yeah, so what I call the framework is, how do you, so it's about deciding on topics. Quite often it maybe include having a series, like deciding I'm going to do a series of Facebook Lives, or I'm going to do a series of videos, or I'm going to do a series of blogs. So that gives you some framework. You decide on the topics and you decide on the titles. That gives you framework, that gives you consistency. And then you can create. And so you can either create in advance or you can create in the moment, but you've got a framework. So for a while, I was doing my social media angel nudges, if you remember those.
That's in the book.
And
some
they
great photos in the book.
Yeah.
It's like the only page where there's a photo.
There we go.
You should see when you go get Katie's book, you'll see there's 4 pictures in the whole book, and it's her doing her nudge thing. So anyway.
Yeah, so that was my framework. So I actually pre-recorded a whole bunch of nudges, and every week what I did was my framework was I will post a nudge, and I'll probably write a little bit around the nudge, which will form like a micro blog. Okay. Now, if I only posted those 2 things that week, that was enough, because there was plenty of value in the nudge, and it was consistent, so people could build a relationship with me through it. I was then able to use. And
you did this on which platforms?
For Instagram and over to Facebook.
Okay.
So then what I would find the serendipity piece would come in, because say I'd recorded 20. That was my framework. Every week I'd post a nudge, but I'd have a client call, and maybe the same thing would come up 3 or 4 times with 3 or 4 different clients. I'd be like, that's needed in the collective consciousness this week. Okay, I've got a nudge on that. I'll go find it and I'll put it in. And if I didn't have a nudge on that, maybe I'd think about just recording one around that topic. But I had my framework. Okay. And so that gave me that consistency.
How did you stay consistent with your own framework?
Yeah, just making sure that every week I would sort of say to myself.
How did you show up with yourself?
Yeah, how did I show up myself? I would say I'd try and aim to post on a Wednesday. Always post my nudges on a Wednesday.
So like everyone knows this?
Yeah, well, and that does
kind of-
work for some people, but I think we're in a time of on demand, so it doesn't really matter necessarily if you post at exactly the same time and day every week. I think it depends what kind of following you have. There's a really cool astrologer that I like called Kai Patcher, and he does a weekly astrology report, and he always puts that out on a Wednesday.
Okay.
So you're kind of checking on YouTube to see if he's posted it or not.
Every week he's for weeks.
And he does his Pele report, yeah. So, and it's kind of building an audience around a thing. And you only need one thing then. You don't need 25 posts a week, because the one thing that you're giving and offering for free is of real value to people. And that builds the relationship, and then people want to work with you, they want to come to your events, all that kind of good stuff.
So let's talk about
Excuse me.
let's talk about building value, because this
Yeah.
is always a concept that I feel is sometimes a little bit challenging for me, and when I speak to people about building value when you are sharing like a live video or a post or a meme or something. 'Cause you're saying, for example, memes today, maybe there's less value. So how do you describe what in today's social media world is of value, and how someone who's doing work and creating content can feel that they're creating value, especially, and this is a parenthesis which I think is important, especially because a lot of what you're sharing is also, don't just aim for likes, don't just aim for share, don't aim for these sort of data-driven measures, which are important, but you're saying go beyond that with a more longer-term strategy, aim more for the connection, potentially exchanges. There's golden nuggets and things that come out of these kinds of posts that you cannot imagine, that go way beyond hundreds of likes, like someone calling you and say, I want to do business with you or something. So how do you create, and how do you put your own measure on, am I creating stuff of value?
I think that needs to come from yourself first. Like, do you feel this is valuable that you're sharing? And what I always do is tune in before you post something. It's like, am I posting this to impress or impact? Am I posting this, what's my intention behind the posts that I'm creating? And if it's just a bit of fluff, which often it can be because we feel we've got to just post something because we haven't posted for ages, it's really pull back from that and think, what is the value in this? Not just for my audience, but also for myself. Yeah. Because Helena Holrick, who she does the 4 intentions, what's my intention for me, what's my intention for them, and that's something I really follow and work with when it comes to the postings. So then it can become this 1 post a week or 1 post a fortnight has value for them and for me. And I think we're so time short and so information heavy that making it count is super important, because we're asking people for their time when we're asking them to read our posts or watch our videos. So, and appreciating all of you here that are watching this now, what's the value in this for you and what's the value in this for us doing it? And it's that same thing. It was valuable for us to get together and get to hang out and chat. And it's valuable for me to be introduced to your audience. And it's valuable for the information that we're then sharing. So it's got this energetic flow to it.
I like that. And would you say if you're not feeling that flow, it's better probably not to post something?
Yes. Yeah. Because we're energetic beings. So we think we can't, we got to that point where social media was this thing removed from us, but really it's this extension of us, like I was saying. So the energy that I'm bringing through on social media, if I'm not feeling good about what I'm wanting to post, how is that going to be received on the other side? If I'm doing this because it's a chore and because I feel I've got to show up on social media, people can feel that. They can feel that in your postings, and you can see it in your engagement as well. I know when I've done a few more sales driven stuff, and when I was still playing with this early on and going into that sales copy speak. And suddenly it didn't sound like me anymore, and I was posting it because I felt like I had to, and and I've got to use social media to sell something, because why else am I doing this? That ROI voice that we all have. I'm spending so much time on this or energy on this. I've got to get some kind of return on this investment. But then that energetically pulls us into a different space, and that makes us sound and feel different. So then we receive different. So actually it can have like a negative impact then when we go into that.
It's like you're off brand.
Yeah.
You're off energy. Yeah, you're kind of off you.
Yeah, and it's trusting that, yes, obviously we're doing this to market things and, our services, our products, our events. But really it's like trusting trusting that the relationship that we're building through the content is enough that when you make an invitation to join something, the relationship is strong enough that people want to come without needing to use any kind of sales tactics.
Okay, that's great. And one of the things that also came up for me is you talk about in the book of taking the creation of social media contents that are going from frustrating to fun, I think you said, going from this impression of wasted time to time well spent.
Yeah, well remembered.
And for me, one of the key things obviously is that there's pleasure and joy that I'm getting at, because that's when I start to pass it on to others, and that energetic passing is a huge part of my message and the way I'm connecting with people. And I think for everyone who's reaching out, it's just kind of this being authentic with you and being you, right? This is really what it is about for me when we translate into social media. So let's see who's checked in here.
Yeah.
Derek Fredrickson, it's good to see you, my friend, in Paris. Justin Humphrey, I don't know where you're reaching out from, but welcome. We're just reaching out saying hello, so, we like to see who's here with us.
Bye,
Marion.
She had to go.
Bye. Vincent Avanci from Paris. How you doing, the Chief Poetic Officer? Love to see you here. Brandon James Duncan, welcome from wherever.
Ooh,
we've got a very long question from Steve Roger
hi.
Phillips. We'll come maybe back to that in a sec if you like.
Lovely.
Jay
Thanks,
Rott says,
Jay.
awesome sharing. I would like to connect and explore collab opportunity. That's beautiful. Thank you very much, Jay. It's good to have you here with us. So let's see here. Why don't we take a question?
Yeah, cool.
So Steve Roger Phillips asks, I would love to get into YouTube videos more seriously. Oh my gosh, I'm with you on this one. As I love using video to connect to my audience. However, I'm currently using Facebook to do my lives. How would you recommend the transition? It's like you're asking my question here, brother. I feel that in the short term, Facebook will get me more reach, but in the long term, YouTube would be better and more searchable for my content.
So I've got a great answer. Well, I mean, YouTube's not my channel, really. I very much focus on Facebook and Instagram. So I have a YouTube strategy for you. But what I would say is continue to do your Facebook Lives and then export your Facebook Live videos and upload those to YouTube. And the thing with YouTube is making sure that your titles are good and that the copy in your description is good. So do some research as to what people are looking for, because it kind of works like SEO and
inside of Facebook?
Inside of YouTube.
Oh, inside of YouTube. Okay.
Yeah, so that you're pinging those keywords in your copy and your title, which will help drive search from new people to discover you on YouTube.
Yeah, I've been actually doing that with this. We will do that with this live. I will put it on
cool.
YouTube.
Great.
So we can do it so people can also check it out there, and we'll put the links that lead to yourself. I have no idea how we're doing on time here. We're just going to check in here. How's everyone doing? Can we get some thumbs up or hearts or something? Give us a little encouragement here.
16:37.
16:37. So how much time should we go on for?
Well, depends how many more questions you have.
Okay. So do we have any more questions here about your own love affair with social media and how to actually shift, transform, change your relationship to social media at one level or another? Do you have a question about making your content creation more fun or more easy to produce maybe? Or do you want some tips on what type of, or let's say how many types of social media you should focus on at this point? Or do you have a question about how can you be more yourself when you are actually doing your social media stuff? there any questions at all? Let's see if we have any
You
questions
got
from
any
before.
questions?
Yeah, I mean, for me, my thing is right now is how do I get more consistent?
Yeah.
And what if I were to find a support person
Yeah.
to somehow, very metal-oriented person, to somehow help me follow a schedule? I think I
Cool.
can come up with the vision and the strategy.
Good question.
And it's someone that I can actually, that I can pass on this stuff
Yeah.
when I do it. And what I'm kind of struggling with is, how do I find the added value in that? Because basically I'm doing the part that takes the most time. It feels like that.
Yeah.
But
But why do you feel you need more than what you're doing? What would be the strategy behind having more?
Well, partially, I don't feel I'm doing, for example, posting like on Instagram
Right.
very efficiently. I do it right in the moment.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm making up the 30 hashtags right in the moment, mostly. And I probably spend
Smash tags.
10 times more time hashtagging. And I know, I read about that in the book. She's like, hashtag, whatever.
Whatever.
She's like, yeah.
It's really funny because there's a really great live video that I watched last week.
This is great. Hashtags, whatever. It's like, does anyone raise your hand if you think hashtags are important? Hashtags, whatever.
Well, so just on that, the time that you were spending doing hashtags could have been time. What is it really driving to you in terms of new people? What is it really doing for you? So there was a great lady did a Facebook live on hashtags, which is actually in my group Social Media for a New Age, which people can come join me in. And it was about like doing the research, getting the keywords. And it just felt to me like, I mean, for me, I was already half asleep at the very thought of having to do all of that. So it doesn't light me up and it doesn't bring me fun. And it doesn't drive enough traffic to my page to really warrant it. I'm better off spending time building relationships with the people that are already in my following than trying to bring a whole bunch of new people in. I have much better return on the time spent having a chat with you. Yeah. So I'd rather spend an hour talking to somebody and reaching their community who then might fall and come into my community, because you've actually got an opportunity to build a relationship with me rather than one random post I might have stuck a hashtag on. I mean, how many people have you really found, discovered and started following and then bought stuff from that you found from a hashtag? I mean, let's just flip this around, right?
I've just saved about an hour a week.
Yes.
I'm not hashtagging anything ever again.
I barely use a hashtag. Yeah.
Incredible.
And, you know, it depends on what kind of business you have.
Sure.
But you're in the business of people and connection. So
Not
you're
hashtags.
much better off spending time
Yeah.
connecting, doing more live interviews, doing more chats with people into their communities. So, yeah, that's, I get a bit passionate about that one.
Love that. Such a great reply. So Nina's saying, I would need a metal person too. On the other hand, I know I would feel unfree if I have to plan too much and then feel obliged to follow.
Yeah. So the really great way to work with somebody, back to this question, is for them to take what you've already created and figure out the best way to recycle it and reuse it. So say I do a podcast, I'll then send it off to get a transcript, and then I'll have somebody possibly work on that, pull some stuff out, and then turn those into either articles as guest blogs or as posts for my social media. Right. So that they're still in my voice, so I'm not straying away from my voice, because everything has to be in my voice. But at the same time, you know, they're doing some of that legwork. Same with my blog, like getting them to take the articles that I've done or the interviews that I've done and upload those. So it's very much an admin role, really.
And that whole, because at one point I did look into somebody who could do like a repurposing kind of specialist person. So for me, it's almost like finding the right kind of person. Yeah. And maybe it's only, 3 hours a week or something, or 5 hours a week or something.
Yeah. If that, like, I mean, what I do with my VA is we have the framework that the client's going to flow within. There's the agreed, my clients will go live at certain points during the week, which they have in their diary, so that's part of their framework. Yeah. And then the other stuff is recycled and reused. And again, but it depends on the size of your audience. Like if I've got an author who's got 175,000 on a Facebook page, we want to be posting stuff sort of on a daily basis to feed that kind of size of audience. Where if you've got a few thousand, you maybe don't want to show up in the same way so often. And I use this as a bit of an analogy. Like if you've got a friend who like comes around for a cup of tea and they knock on your door and they're like, I'm gonna have a cup of tea with you today. And then every day they come and knock on your door and they're like, can we have another cup of tea? Can we have another cup of tea? And social media is a little bit like that. It's like, oh my God, like I love hanging out with you on Monday, but really it's Thursday now.
That's a good one.
So it's like thinking about that in terms of consistency too. We can be over consistent as well as under consistent.
So wait a minute, the algorithm. Ooh. Katie, the algorithm. No one is going to see what I post.
Can I read you the poem? So in the every
is anyone
book,
stuck on the algorithm?
I wrote a poem for every chapter.
Oh, sweet.
Do you want the algorithm one?
Here's the algorithm poem.
Okay. Actually, WTF is an algorithm, is the title. We love to blame the algorithm for everything under the sun. My content didn't get seen, you know. Those pesky algorithms are scum. But they do have our best interests at heart. Zuckerberg wants his AI to learn from us and be smart, with community and engagement making it go off the charts, getting the stories that matter to us most, making sure spam and fake news are toast. So next time you cuss and complain, say thank you, algorithms. Amen.
I love it.
So we try and blame the algorithm.
There's her unicorn. Did you see that? Did you sense that?
We try and blame this algorithm, but what it's trying to do is get the posts that matter most to the people that they matter most to.
So it's like the hashtags, don't pay attention to algorithms.
The algorithm, so the other thing that they write about is that it's personal, subjective and unique. So every single person is having a completely different relationship with social media or a different experience of social media. So you can't cheat the algorithm. What happens is when somebody likes, comments, shares, or even reads or watches a video, Facebook or Instagram goes, ooh, you're engaging with that person, and you could even be talking to them in direct messages. It's still going, oh, you're engaging with this person, so you matter to that person. So I'll show that higher up the news feed next time you log on because that person matters to you. So it's remembering, it's getting the posts that matter most to the people that they matter most to. And so when you focus on that, again, you're focusing into your community. Who am I talking to? Why am I talking to them? What's my intention behind this post? That's why this blanket posting just doesn't work. And it doesn't work with the algorithm either.
Yeah, that's so interesting. First of all, that's interesting to me because when people are posting 5 times kind of the same thing or the same thing, and of course you have something to come and share. I posted 2 or 3 times that we were coming, but otherwise, like people doing that way too much, I kind of turn off. I can't be bombarded by that. So I don't want to do that either.
No.
Right? And I think it's really amazing
that reflection.
To reframe it as the way you've done it. So let's take another question, shall we? So Troy Swanson, who is in Madrid, I think. Welcome, Michelle. So question, how important... Whoops. How important do you think that person shares most only on their topic area versus various aspects of their life mixed for growth on social media?
Ooh.
Best practice seems to be stay on topic with most all sharing.
Yeah, stay on topic. Again, it's like this whole vulnerability, authenticity thing. We're not Beyonce. Like, we don't all need to see what's happening. I mean, we're voyeuristic naturally, I think, as human beings. So, sometimes this whole sharing of the personal life thing, but I think that also plays to our egos, and we can get a bit carried away with thinking people care that we're going to the gym or that we're eating a green smoothie, and it just becomes part of that, like, oh my god,
documenting.
Yeah, hey, look at me drinking a green smoothie. But really stay on topic. We're using social media to share about our thing that we're passionate about, that we want to connect with people about. They don't need to know about our relationship status or what we had for dinner.
Nice answer. Does that do it for you, Troy?
But yeah, best practice, definitely try and stay on topic. Make it personal and personable in the same way you would with a client. You want to be a real person, but you don't have to share, you know, like I said, what's going on in your life unless it's relevant.
So, looks like Troy liked that answer.
Cool.
So, you may not know Katie so well, but what she is really about is she uses a strategy of love for social media. And I wanted to ask you, what does that mean? And how do you transmit that and share that with your people through social media?
Very much like we've kind of talked about already. How do I love what I'm doing on social media? How do I have love for what I'm creating and sharing? And there's this really great quote, Will Smith says, creating is the way that you get in sync with the universe. And so when you really love creating and sharing, there's that love is infused into what you're doing. Like we talked about right at the very beginning about how I got into social media. Like I loved it. And the successes that I had where we weren't trying to achieve anything. We weren't trying to win an award. We weren't trying to get a million. We were just doing it because we loved it. And there was this channel that allowed us to love it and do it. And that's where I've always had my biggest successes. So how do you have love for it?
So repeat that. See that sentence again. That's where. Look in the camera. That's where I've had my most
success. Yeah, it is. It really is.
Ding, 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 ding.
Always, like from things going viral to winning awards to winning new clients.
That's exceptional. I love to hear that.
Yeah. But it's also then how do I have love? So there's the love of doing it. But then it's like how do I show love through what I'm giving and doing? So it's like brings in this element of being in service. We get quite nervous about giving away too much. And sharing too much so that people then won't buy from us or they'll copy us or they'll do stuff that, you know, but when you're giving and sharing from a place of love for the people that are receiving it, again, like that can be felt and that can be, it's infused into what you're doing. And so then it's received in a way that you're not trying to get something from somebody, like all this click to go here, sign up to my mailing list, go get this. You know, we've gone through that pattern now, and it's a bit of a grab. It's not actually, I just want to share this with you because I have something I really want to share with the world. And whether you then choose to join me as a client, as somebody who's bought the book, whatever that might be, then that exchange becomes so much more beautiful, really, because when it's got this love infused into it. And I personally would rather do business from that place.
I love it. So besides you and me, who else are you looking to and are you most fascinated and kind of in love with and you feel is living this new social media for new age online on whatever platform? Who are people that could and maybe all of you want to share who you love to follow, who you feel is not just famous or star or really great at what they do or whatever, but actually through their social media, you're really getting a sense of things you love to follow them. If anyone wants a list who you love to follow, but I'm just guessing you also.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I mentioned Kai Pacha. Like I really enjoy following. He's an astrologer, and he does a weekly video, and they're very
Facebook
on YouTube, but gets posted to Facebook.
And is it live or
no? He just does it as a pre-record, and he's like quite a character, so he's just fun to watch as well. And he's like, it's in service. He's just putting these out as part of, you know, helping the collective as well as just
public service with love and
But you know, he has then the cross that he has workshops and stuff, so he'll put an announcement up at those at the end. So you know, there's a receiving that comes back, and they've gone crazy. Like he's super popular. My very good friend Lisa Lister, she's
Lisa Lister?
Yeah, she's fantastic. She's going through a very interesting transition at the moment, having given everything away with love on Instagram for many years. She's moving to a Patreon model at the moment, so she can actually receive in return for like greater sharing. So she'll share a certain level on social media, and then you get a bit more if you go to her Patreon page. Yeah, and Jen McCarthy as well. Yeah, nice one, Steve. Jen, my friend Jen, runs a group called The Event Is Happening. And what she's doing there is phenomenal. Like, she's holding this space. The group went, she set it up for like her friends and family and colleague, like people that she knew. She was seeing this information about an event. And it's grown to 80,000 in 6-7 months. She set it up in March, and we're in April now, and she's got 80,000.
That's in the book also, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
You see, I read the book.
Yeah. Thanks.
I learned a lot from this book. No, what's really amazing about what you've written is you're helping us simplify how we look at the way that we can use social media without it being something super complicated, time consuming. Hey, Jen. And this is really great. And I was thinking of a new acronym, which I don't know if anyone uses this acronym. I hope I've made this up. KISS, the acronym.
Yeah.
So usually we say, keep it simple, stupid. And I've reframed this to say, keep it simple, smarty.
I like it. Yeah.
So the simplification thing that you bring in a lot through the book here, it's got for this objective to like simplify, prioritize, get to know what matters the most to you, and don't feel like you have to do things in a certain way. And I think this liberty for me feels really motivating and inspiring to actually try a new way of, let's say, a new relationship with social media for me. So I hope for all of you today that you will have taken away some inspiration to eventually read Katie's book if you like. We'll put the links and everything below. And to just kind of question how you're doing your social media, like what you're doing. If you feel like you're wasting time, or you feel like it's such a bore, or it's a chore, or maybe you're spending too much time, even if you're enjoying it, you want to find a more efficient way to do it. You want to kind of figure out a better way to connect, to engage, and create community.
And it's very much like, why do you love doing what you do? Why is it that you're showing up on social media? And take that passion for what you're doing in the real world and really using social media as the tool to extend that out to other people. And then it does become quite simple, because it's just like, how am I using this to share the things that I'm passionate about with people that can then connect and create relationships? And it doesn't have to be tens of thousands of followers. If that's right for you in your journey, that's great. But it might be that a group of a few hundred who are really into what you're doing, it may even just be that it's like an aftercare for clients, a space that you can connect and keep your relationship growing and building outside of the physical stuff. Like, it's good to meet up in physical, but you can keep that relationship going through connecting on social media.
So tell us a little bit about where we can connect more and learn more about this extraordinary book here. If you can see this, Social Media for a New Age. That's Katie, this little image here. Katie Brockhurst. And what's the tagline?
Simple strategies that are authentic and true, passionate, real, in alignment with you.
It rhymes.
It does.
It's from Music World DJ. So where can people catch up with you online, speaking of social media?
Yeah, so I have a Facebook group. Just search Social Media for a New Age.
We'll put it in the
link. So I tend to share articles and do lives and stuff in there. I love Instagram, so I'm pretty active on Instagram. So Instagram stories, and also my grid over there, and that's Katie K. Social Media Angel.
Okay.
Yeah, there, and that's it really. They're my
unless you come to Glastonbury. Highly recommended. Everyone, just come on over, everyone, to Glastonbury.
Yeah. Actually, I'm doing an event in December, and that I can put the information for that as well. Yeah,
sure.
Here in Glastonbury, a day event. Yeah, just like small groups, sort of 10-15 people. But yeah, if you feel called.
Okay.
Thank you, Troy. Thanks, Steve.
Our pleasure.
Thank you for joining us.
What I think would be really great is, do you want to read us another like poem from the book to kind of one or two of your favorite ones?
Yeah.
And like what it's for, what it's applied to.
Let me have a little look. Ooh, we covered so many topics. Okay. This one is creativity, content, and connection. Social media is a creative dream come true. Create pictures, articles, videos, and podcasts too. Finding your creative flow helps your content to connect and glow. And as you shine your creative light, watch your platforms ignite. Tap into your inner voice, ideas, or vision. Use creative social media to share your mission.
I just had like this incredible vision of you doing like a rap album with just like all of these paragraphs. Like
I have like
quality.
wrapped a few of them on Instagram.
Yeah, that's right. I saw you do
Yeah, I quite like getting into the flow with it. And then there's one in here that doesn't rhyme. Do you think it's maybe that one? Let me just flick through. Okay, this is the one that doesn't rhyme. If light is information and we're in the age of information, then we are also in the age of light. If love is light, then love is information, which means we are in the age of love. And if social media is a place for us to share information, it is a place for us to share our light and our love. And when we share our information, light and love, creatively and consciously, we connect with and create our community.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Well, this has been fun. We've had a great time.
We have. Thank you very much.
We hope that you guys have also had a good time and learned a lot about social media, learned a lot about Katie. And that if you want to, learn some more, be more in her aura, now you'll soon know. We'll post everything in here later. Thanks so much for spending some time with us, your valuable time, your attention. So appreciated. And for those that are not watching this live, we so appreciate you also. We'll see you next time on the next talk, whenever that is. But anyway, this is David and Katie signing off from Glastonbury. Ciao.